Mabuhay Pilipinas! Magandang hapon!
How are you, everyone? Welcome to the Philippines Shopify Meetup. Woo!
Kamusta na po kayo? Or how are you? Thank you for taking the time to spend your Saturday with us. We are very delighted to have so many awesome Shopify and e-commerce enthusiasts joining with us today. And we will be rocking your afternoon, so sit back and enjoy.
My name is Narissa Sho, the co-founder and CEO of Filter.
And I am Atcha Abe, the project manager of Filter.
At Filter, our goal is to help global, fast-growing, culture-centric digital and e-commerce businesses win in the ever-changing global market by assisting you to build and manage global teams through outsourcing in the Philippines.
Filter specializes also in development, digital design, and e-commerce customer support. And as your hosts, we want to officially welcome you to the virtual Shopify Philippines Meetup.
Woo! So let's check where you guys are from. We're going to launch a poll. Tell us where you are right now.
Okay, let's check the poll, guys. So currently, of course, we have a lot of participants here in the Philippines today. And we also have participants in Australia. Welcome, guys, to our virtual Shopify Meetup.
Woo! So, I know I always say this, but it's true. Filipinos are the most humble and industrious people on earth. So as an Australian, let me brag on your behalf. Philippines, in November 2020, we beat our own record for the world's largest Shopify meetup with over 1,000 people joining us. Can we beat that record today, Atcha?
I think we can, Narissa, but great news. We had over 600 people registered here today, so we will see. And if this is your first time to a meetup, welcome. And it's really good to have you on board. Just say hi in the chat. Shopify Meetups is a free educational series run by Shopify experts around the world in 32 countries and 94 cities.
So we actually had 42% of registrations who signed up as merchants, which is amazing. So let us all know in the chat room the link to your Shopify store. Let's support each other, create awareness, and make some money.
Yes, and guys, in the next few hours, you will be learning from two kick-ass local and international e-commerce Shopify experts to reveal the truth behind successful e-commerce stores. With their proven experience in the field, they will share their extensive knowledge in building e-commerce stores to success. And if you miss anything, don't worry. We will be sending you the recording by the end of next week. And there is guess what? This is what they're always asking. We will be giving away a free e-certificate. So this is included as well. So moving on to another poll. So why did you decide to attend this event? Okay, let's check. So our options are I want to learn new things, speaker lineup, networking opportunities, and my boss made me. So currently, no one major boss joined to attend to this event. So, and the most votes we have, I want to learn new things, and you will definitely learn a lot here today. And next is networking opportunities. So good to know, guys.
Fantastic. And a huge shout out to our incredible, amazing sponsors, Filter, PayMaya, and Gorgeous. We even have the gorgeous APAC Partnerships Manager here with us online today, Jasper, virtual hello. He's going to be here the whole event, and he's happy to book in to see you and talk all things gorgeous. So we're going to check out the sponsor videos so you can see how they can help you power your store.
You bring the world to people's doorsteps, whether it's their favorite dishes, much-needed essentials, or a quick retail pick-me-up. And now, you get to not only make it easier and more convenient for your customers, but also more securely, thanks to PayMaya's payment solutions. Your presence online has earned you constant customers, and it's now easier for them to buy what they want and need from you. PayMaya checkout can be easily integrated with your website to give your customers a secure and hassle-free payment experience. And if you're using an e-commerce platform like Shopify, WooCommerce, Magento, or Cafe24, there is PayMaya checkout plugins to make online payment fuss-free. But even if you don't have a website, PayMaya still makes it easy for you to reach out to your customers with PayMaya Digital Invoice, where you can send a digital payment link or a digital payment QR through chat, text, or your social media account. What's more, by being a PayMaya merchant, your branded shop can be found at the Maya Mall inside the PayMaya app, instantly reaching millions of customers. But it's not just payments that PayMaya has made more convenient. Managing and monitoring all transactions are done on a single dashboard with PayMaya Manager. And once you've closed the deal, the payments you receive are credited to your account the next business day. You're building an empire, providing essential services, or just answering the demands of the people. Whatever it is, PayMaya is here to help you grow your online business.
If you're looking for a job, stop. Listen, we're hiring and here's how to apply. If you haven't heard of Filta, we specialize in e-commerce digital marketing agencies looking for great talent here in the Philippines. We are always on the hunt for great Filipinos to showcase what we have to offer. Some of the roles we are currently hiring are a mechanical draftsman, a research analyst, a data scientist, a digital project manager, Philippines-based, and a digital project manager, Sydney-based. If you are interested in working for really cool global brands, whether it may be from the US, UK, or Australia, here are the perks. What are you waiting for? Apply now. To learn more, visit www.filtaglobal.com/careers.
Thank you, lovely Acha. Much appreciated. So if anyone here hates their job or you've been stood down because of the pandemic, please make sure you reach out to us at careers@filtaglobal.com or on our socials, Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Also, great news, we have our Dynamo recruitment team here today. So Iris, Erica, Ali, Chanel, Jill, say hi. And Acha, I think we should give away some Filta t-shirts.
Oh, yes, let's do it. Oh, so what does our Filta t-shirt look like?
Oh, well, I went to my cupboard. I took two. So we've got this is the new design, everyone.
Wow.
Filta.
Be one of the first to have that new design, guys.
Absolutely, and don't worry, it will be brand new. I promise you won't get my used ones. And we've got our classic Filta t-shirts. You can rock that out in the gorgeous Philippines while you're working from home. Acha, this is the competition, everyone. If you want to win one of those two t-shirts, all you have to do in the chat box is saying yes. If you write yes, my gorgeous colleague here, Acha, is going to pick 4 people to win one of these t-shirts. So ready? Go.
Okay.
Right, yes.
Who will be the first 4 lucky winners to get the Filta shirt? Okay, so our first winner is Jahara Reyes. Congratulations, Jahara Reyes. Next winner, second winner, we have Corazon Ang. Congratulations, Corazon Ang, for winning the second filter t-shirt. Now for the third. Wow. Nerissa, this is going crazy. Everyone wants that t-shirt. Our third winner is RJ Marquez. Congratulations, RJ Marquez. And our fourth and last winner for the filter t-shirt, we have Jed Lazaro. Congratulations, Jed Lazaro, for winning. So for the 4 lucky winners, make sure your message in the chat box. And don't forget to email hello@filterglobal.com. Again, don't forget to email hello@filterglobal.com. Email there your full name and email address, and Kes, our digital marketing specialist, will be in contact with you to organize delivery.
Awesome. Congratulations, winners. Not only do we have amazing speakers, we have offers and even more giveaways right to the last second of this webinar. So if you don't want to miss out, you have to stay till the end. And trust me, you do not want to leave your couch. And did we mention that we're giving away e-certificates?
Yes, Nerissa. So guys, if you just hopped in with us, we are giving away free. Yes, you heard it right. Free e-certificates. So please expect your e-certificate to be sent to you to your email within 7 days. You may check your junk mail too for the e-certificate.
Now, to keep the party going, we have an extra fun competition for you today, courtesy of our amazing sponsor, Gorgeous. We are going to be flashing 3 emojis during the webinar. You've got to jot them down, and at the end of the webinar, we're going to ask you to chat them in the comment section in the correct order, and 5 winners are going to receive 5 Food Panda vouchers worth 1,000 pesos each. Thank you, Gorgeous.
Thank you so much, Gorgeous. So remember to take note of these emojis in the correct order, guys. So it will not count if it's all mixed up. So it has to be in the correct order. So what will it be, Miss Tala? Awesome. Thank you, Tala. So I believe that we are really looking forward for our speakers today. So let's just get right into it. Ever wondered what it's like to start an online business from scratch? It can be really overwhelming and downright terrifying. But our first speaker has braved the e-commerce industry and is now the owner of the fastest growing online grocery in Mindanao. Jenica Chia is the founder of Shopsuki, and it was created in only 3 days as a response to the pandemic last March 2020, and has since grown to serve tens of thousands of customers. With a background in marketing, Jenica previously worked for top retailers in the UK and the Philippines, namely Zalora, John Lewis, Dune, and Ocado, the largest pure-play online grocery in the world. She is passionate about creating memorable experiences for each Suki, bringing a personal touch to an otherwise automated and cold online transaction. So let us welcome to the stage, Jenica.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Nerissa and team. I'm so excited to be here to speak to everybody. So I just want to say hi to my team, Team Suki, to my family and friends. And let me share with you guys what we have been up to so far. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys a little bit about how we deliver with love at Shopsuki. In our first year, we actually received over 600 Facebook recommendations without a single thumbs down, and we're really proud of that. So I'm going to tell you guys how anybody can start their own business super fast and deliver amazing service. So I just want to take us back to March 2020. This was such a challenging time. Literally overnight, our whole world has changed. I remember it was like March 15 where they said, okay, everything's closed. Everyone's going to go home. Half the office disappeared overnight. So this was what the queues to the supermarket looked like. It was just absolute chaos, right? I mean, I've always been passionate about e-commerce, and having worked previously with an online grocer, I thought, okay, what would it take to build an online grocery as quickly as possible For us, the main goal really was to help our local community, help as many immunocompromised individuals as possible, help senior citizens and frontliners get their grocery needs. So we started. This is how we started, right? Right in this photo, this very sad, depressing room and a few push cards, this is how our online grocery delivery service started. And I'm so pleased to say that right now I'm actually saying hi to you from this beautiful historic city of Zamboanga. We started in General Santos, and launching today at the same time as this seminar is our first delivery here in Zamboanga. So I was actually just delivering groceries earlier this morning, and we'll probably go back to do more deliveries later, but it's just been absolute chaos. So I'm so happy to represent Mindanao. These are our beautiful vans. So we have these beautiful, colorful vans that travel around the city, delivering some love, delivering some groceries. And I am so pleased to say hi and so proud of my team, Team Suki. We have grown to around 160, 170 people across the two cities, and we continue to grow so we could serve thousands more Sukis around Mindanao and hopefully across the Philippines. So actually at Shopsuki, we don't say the word customer. It's almost like illegal in our vocabulary. We always say the word Suki. So if you're from the Philippines, if you're Filipino, this word Suki is very much ingrained in our retail culture, in our sari-sari store culture, right? So this is why it's so key for us at Shopsuki that we refer to our customers as Sukis. Because when we think of them as Sukis, we're always thinking about their 100th, 1,000th, 10,000th transaction, not just their current one. And it's because of this that every single person in our team tries to find that little bit of magic, little bit of something special in every single order that our Sukis make. So I want to share with you guys one of the ways that we do that. We have this sweet treats program at Shopsuki. So instead of a loyalty program, we have cake. So when you order for the 10th time at Shopsuki, you get free cupcakes. You get 3 super cute cupcakes. And on your 25th order, you get a whole sponge roll. So they come in chocolate, strawberry, vanilla, all extremely sweet, extremely delicious. So perhaps as a business owner, you might think, wow, this is potentially costly, like giving a whole cake to your Suki. So just to put things into perspective, just imagine perhaps your average order value is around 1,000 pesos. And you give your Sukis cupcakes and cakes. I believe that the impact that these have goes far beyond their actual peso value. It really creates a memory in their mind that when they think of Shopsuki, they think of something delicious. And that's a memory that's very hard to forget. And furthermore, I think the impact can actually be quite exponential. This creates a shareable experience. It's something that they want to share with their friends, their family, through Facebook or in person. So something that people love to talk about. And as you know, madaming chismosa dito sa Pilipinas. So any way you can get free cakes, free cupcakes is definitely something they want to share and shout about. So a special time for us here at Shopsuki was actually Valentine's Day. I just want to share this video with you guys. This Valentine's Day, along with our mission to deliver with love, we decided to deliver a harana, a little bit of song, something special into the homes of our Sukis. Coming up, one of our Sukis, this is actually a very special story that we have here. Her daughter is an OFW, an overseas Filipino worker. She hasn't seen her mom in years, and it's been made even harder because of the pandemic. I think this is her mom coming up. This is her mom, and she wanted us to deliver some groceries to her mom as a surprise for Valentine's Day. Little did she know that our team would be coming to her doorstep with a love song too. And honestly, it brought her mom to tears. Her mom video called her while we were delivering. She was crying. Our team was crying. When they went back with the video, we were all crying. It was a very touching moment. And I think it's memorable not just for the Suki, but for our team as well. It really humanizes our Sukis and makes us feel like, wow, we can really make something impactful in their lives beyond just groceries. What's so great about this is that it's simple, completely simple. We just needed a van rental for the day. We're lucky to have 3 talented team members and practice time. I'm sure here in the Philippines, madaming artistahin sa atin ba? Madaming gustong magsayaw, madaming gustong magkanta. So there's always some talent to be found. And the memories that we create through this is priceless, right? So it's something that they love to share, something that they want to remember, right? And another way we make a personal connection, something special for our Sukis, it's not just about these special occasions. We want to bring some magic, something unique to every single transaction that they have, something that makes us stand out. So this is why in every single order we have these Suki notes. And through our Suki notes, we create something personal for every single order, right? Every single order, we think about, maybe a positive quote for that day, something we'd like to share with our Sukis. So we write them these little notes. And what's great about this is that it's so personal. It really humanizes the transaction for us and our Sukis. It's not just when you're shopping online, it's very difficult because you can't see the person that you were talking to. Just like how you would in the store, there's no warmth, right? So, okay, I've just been told, sorry, that my video is not working. So if you guys I don't know if it's working, but please let me know. Otherwise,
we can't see you, but your presentation is amazing. So
okay, that's fine. The presentation is more important than my face. It's just somebody just came in and was like, we can't see you, but that's okay. So I'm just going to turn my camera off anyways. It would make the connection faster. I'd rather you look at the faces of our happy Sukis. So yeah, these Suki notes, we give them every single order, and they're so memorable. This photo down here is actually from one of our loyal Sukis. She has this little keepsake box where she puts all of her Suki notes. And she loves sharing it with us and saying, hi, today Ray served me. Thank you so much, Ray. Or like, thank you so much, Jessa. Thank you for your message. And I think it's just so special that they can remember us this way. However, of course, operations, service, it's not always sunshine and rainbows, right? Things will go wrong. We didn't get all these recommendations because we deleted every single negative review, every single negative recommendation. Things will go wrong, and just know that when it goes wrong, it's what you do that counts. So this is a nightmare quote that we actually received from one of our Sukis. This was just last month. She did a pickup order, and it was actually the second time that we missed her pickup slot. So she ended up waiting for more than 30 minutes. So she sent this, so we decided to offer her a voucher as a form of apology. This is pretty much standard practice for a lot of e-commerce companies. But she said to me, anuhin ko yung voucher nyo if always naman kayong palpak. So in translation, what will I do with that voucher if you're always a failure? So that's a message that perhaps you never want to hear. You probably get an anxiety attack if you get that from a Suki. But I'm sure us as merchants, I'm sure perhaps you've seen some of these. Hopefully not, or maybe some of you have seen much worse than this. But right, these things happen. So just know, right, things will go wrong, but it's important that you ingrain service as a culture in your team. It's very important for you as a founder and your team to learn how to take ownership of your actions. So one of the beauties of being a hyper-localized grocery service, so being so close to our Sukis and doing our own fulfillment. Perhaps some of you use third-party fulfillment providers, but for us, because we have our own fleet, we have our own team, we actually, when we screw up really badly, we love just turning up to somebody's house and saying sorry. The way we see our Sukis, we always say that, imagine if your Suki is your friend or they're your family member. would you just want to send them like an SMS like, hey, sorry? Or would you not want to say sorry to their face, say sorry in person? So a story I'd like to share was last year. It was somebody's birthday and they made a special request. So please deliver my groceries before 6 p.m. because we're going to have this feast. We need to cook it. And unfortunately, it was already 5:30 and we still haven't delivered their groceries, right? We were still at the store, their groceries were still waiting, and they said, you know what, just cancel it. If you're not going to deliver, just cancel it. And that's kind of devastating to hear. And for us, it wasn't like, okay, they're never going to shop with us again. Okay, that's a bad thing. But again, looking back, if you think of them as your friend, would you want to ruin your friend's birthday? Like, clearly not. So we thought, right, what do we need for a Filipino birthday party? Balloons, spaghetti, barbecue, and cake. That's it. 4 things: balloons, barbecue, spaghetti, and cake. Okay, let's do it. Let's buy it as quickly as possible and show up to their house, sing them happy birthday, and hope that they'll forgive us. Whether or not they'll take their orders or they won't take their orders, let's just make sure that we make a sincere apology as a team, everybody who's involved, and mean it. I think this goes beyond appeasing the Suki, but being there as a team as a whole and being able to apologize for our actions, I think was quite a humbling experience for everybody in the team. It really, again, humanizes that transaction and helps us remember that, yes, these are real people. These are real Sukis that we are affecting, and finding ways to make it right by them. So something that we do as well, instead of a voucher, is that we love giving cake. So cake when we do well, cake when we're not doing well, because being hurt tastes better when it's sweet, I guess. So we give away a lot of cake at Shopsuki, hopefully less for apologies now and more for saying thanks. One of the things that we also like to practice for great service is that we love taking proactive measures. So knowing things will go wrong, or stopping things from going wrong before they go wrong, right? Service doesn't just start when you've already made a mistake. So it's key to find critical touch points where things can go wrong. So actually last year, something that happened to us was we managed to overprice eggs for 3 days. We overpriced eggs, and actually we could have continued operating and nobody would have known otherwise. Nobody complained, but we thought, right, like if our Suki was our friend, would we want to have like sold them overpriced eggs? And even though it was difficult to do, actually having to refund, quite a few people, it was also a costly measure. We decided that we need to do this. This is the right thing to do. So we ended up contacting every single Suki that was affected by this incident and sending them a rebate for their eggs. Although it was difficult, it was the right thing to do. And I think that long-term, it built that trust and transparency for us and our Sukis. So customer service in a team is not just the customer service team's concern. Suki service, great service, is a focus. It should be a focus for every single person in a team. So some people might have a shrine in their home. So we have our own equivalent of a Suki shrine. So in our office, we have photos of all our photos of our Sukis, their reviews, their words to us, and we post it in this wall. So every day we come to work, we see their faces and remember why we come to work every single day. So anytime we have a Suki concern, we make sure that this is visible and public across every single person in the team so we can all take accountability. So every week we feed back across all teams, all the customer concerns, all the Suki concerns that arise, and we work together as a team to resolve them. Because Suki concerns are it's kind of irresponsible, to be honest, to have so many concerns and not take proactive measures to address them long term. One of the things that I'd also like to advise other merchants and retailers is to practice service across channels. Make it as easy as possible for your Sukis to reach you. I don't know if you guys have had nightmare experiences trying to contact your bank or your insurance companies. It is not good. the longer you wait to get to someone, especially when you're angry, the angrier you get. So something that we practice here in Shopsuki is that we make our Suki service number as visible as possible across all channels. So Facebook, Instagram, every single email, our footer, our menu, our announcement bar sometimes, right? So service is like dating, okay? It's one thing to give someone your phone number, but you actually need to pick up your phone and answer. You need to respond. So one of our key KPIs is our response time on Facebook. And I'm so pleased to say that we've managed to keep this at 2 minutes for, I think, over like 9 months now. So, and we hope to continue keeping it below 5 minutes. And finally, as a founder, as a leader, service starts, I think, with you. At the end of the day, you need to take ownership of your team's actions. Whatever errors, whatever faults your team makes is also your fault, your error as a team leader. So along with our Sukis, when we do visits to Sukis, when we've made a big mistake, sometimes I like to go with them. I think it really humanizes, again, our Sukis for the team and for me as well, because it could be quite disconnecting being behind your monitor all the time and just looking at your KPIs, looking at your dashboards, and you forget, right, that these are people. And seeing them face to face, I think just builds a lot of credibility for your team to, for your Sukis too. And they see that, wow, you as a founder, you really care about their concerns. You want to listen to them, you want to hear their feedback, and you want to do something about it. So those are just a few learnings that we've had in our first year at Shopsuki, how we continue to deliver amazing service, how we continue to deliver with love. I hope I was able to share something that's useful for you guys. Please don't hesitate. Come say hi to us on Facebook, on Instagram. Feel free to send me an email or add me on LinkedIn. And if you're from here in Zamboanga or from Jensan, please come say hi to me. We're always hiring. If you're interested in shopping as well. And yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thanks. That was freaking incredible. You've got some questions in the chat. Do you have time to answer them?
Yeah, I just like the chat is kind of going crazy. It's like hard to.
Would you want me to read you out some?
Yeah, please, because I'm like scrolling and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Okay, so from Instagram, is there a minimum budget for setting up on online grocery?
You have yourself and you have a means of vehicle, or even if you don't have your vehicle, you get a tricycle and you deliver. So I'd say no. Like literally you have yourself, you have your tricycle, and you just go, you deliver. And so no, I don't think so.
Great, thank you. Another question from Instagram. What are the risk assessment measures you took before starting Shopsuki?
None. I like to think like, oh yeah, I got like an official consulting company, like to audit, our whole operations, run the numbers. Literally nothing. I'm just like, we were just like, okay, what are the 1,000 like best-selling SKUs? Like, what do people need? Milk, eggs, meat, coffee, rice, and that's it. Throw it on the website, guys. If you have seen our website on the first day, there were no photos. Product descriptions were a mess. I was like, as long as the price is correct and the order gets there, that's it. So let's just get going. And so yeah, that's how it was.
Amazing. Before I jump into one of the other questions, I'm actually curious to know, it was you that started it. How many people do you have working with you now?
So we're like, I think 120 in General Santos, and we have new starters around 61 here in Zamboanga and growing.
That is incredible. So you launched a new store. When did that actually launch?
Today, yesterday, or right now.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah, it just so happens it coincided with this talk. I'm actually like panicking, like what's happening downstairs.
We're very, very appreciative. I'm sure it's going really, really well.
I hope so.
I do have another question. how do you personalize or humanize that transaction? For example, if your store is not as near to your customers as you want. So like if you are servicing customers in Metro Manila and your customers in Mindanao, do you have any advice?
Yeah, I mean, I think those Suki notes, like anyone can do them. The cute little stationery. I mean, when we first started, people were bringing their own stickers, their own tape to store. Like they were putting glitter on the notes. They were like drawing things on them. So it really doesn't matter how far away you are, right? Yeah, I think that's one way you can really have like a personal touch. I think with your packaging as well. I love having like personalized, I don't know, when I like order like makeup or jewelry sometimes from smaller stores, I find that there is something more personal. I love getting notes. I love when I open a box and it smells really good. So it's just very simple, but I think can make a big difference.
Love it. We've got some more questions.
Yes.
Actually, would you like to ask?
Yeah. So,
okay, go for it.
Joe Cyril Davis asked, "Hi, Jenica. How do you choose your product for your online grocery?"
That's a great question. Well, when we first started, we didn't really put much thought into it. We just thought, okay, what are people actually buying? Like, what is most essential for them? Like, you need, of course, your commodities, your eggs, your rice, your oil, basic snacks, baby milk. So it's really what people need. And I guess you start from there and you build it up, like depending on where you are. Like right now, there's a big craze around Korean food, international food. So we want to try to cater to our Suki needs, get them to try new things as well. So yeah, that's kind of the baseline.
Okay, thank you. And the next question is from C. Taram M.N. What are the challenges you face as the business scales up?
Sorry, can you say that again?
What are the challenges you face as the business scales up?
It's so funny because even though I'm telling you guys, like we have 100 plus staff right now, we're literally, it's day one again. Like I'm getting flashbacks from March 2020. Today, I'm getting the same anxiety about like, what if we can't find the house? What if there's an item missing? You know, I think all those feelings still remain the same. I think one of the biggest challenges is maintaining the culture, maintaining our values, Suki first. Like every day, I'm just like, guys, I want everybody in our team to be completely brainwashed and just go to the shower thinking, okay, deliver with love, deliver with love, deliver with love, like eat thinking deliver with love. They see their like husband or wife and they're thinking, oh yeah, we're going to deliver with love tomorrow. So I think just ingraining that culture and making sure like no matter how many people are in your team, that everybody's still like focused on the same mission. So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest challenges.
Next question from Phil Spenceley. How do you plan or maintain your amazing service as you scale up?
Hi, Phil. Guys, Phil was my manager in the UK. So I'm so happy that he's come to see me. So definitely KPIs, like we have to put numbers to things. I love working with numbers. I love having benchmarks and holding people accountable for that. So I'll be speaking more about that later when we talk about fulfillment. So yeah, that's one of the things that we do. And also I think as a leader, sending an example to your team and working with them side by side. Like I know if you need to pack meat, if you need to like check fruits, and staying humble, like staying grounded and make sure that you're familiar with your operations like inside and out.
Yes, that's really helpful. And we have another question from Sitaram N. What's the customer feedback tool you have built in your online business?
So I think generally quite positive. We've taken our net promoter score 6 months after we first started, and again just recently, and we've managed to actually maintain our net promoter score of 7.2, which is way above like industry standards, especially for retail. So that's how we kind of take a pulse. I really love numbers, so.
Next question from Michael Lance Domagas. Which kind of products does your Suki love to purchase?
I mean, of course, we have the basics, rice. We're in the Philippines. They love rice. We buy lots of rice, lots of bread. Something that was so surprising at the beginning of lockdown, we actually sold out all of our hair dye. Like, I thought that was so funny. Like, our top selling item in our store was hair dye because everybody was staying home. I guess they just had like gray hair. So from time to time, we just have like really funny things that sell out. Last year there was, what was that coffee trend? Dalgona coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was one time, like in the middle of the pandemic, we had graham like shortage. Everybody wanted to make mango float, so we just like no more grahams like for weeks, and people were so angry. People were like, "Where are the grahams? Where are the grahams? I need to make mango float." So, yeah.
Ranzel Tolentino asks, how do you handle inventory? Do you have your own warehouse?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we have a grocery partner. It's kind of a hybrid now. We have to do a lot of math. We've actually done our own kind of like inventory algorithm within Shopsuki. I don't know if you guys have worked in groceries before. It's very difficult to maintain an inventory in a live store if you're an e-commerce company and you're sharing an inventory with somebody else, because we're picking, customers are picking, you might think that there's something there, but it's actually in somebody's cart. So it can be quite chaotic, but we've learned from our mistakes over the months. We have our own dashboards, we have our own analytics that we've built ourselves. So that's how we manage our inventory.
Yes, accountability is really a great factor in the business. And we have a question from another one, I think, from Joe Cyril. Do you think, Jenica, is it not too late to start?
I don't know what you want to start, but it's never too late to start anything, honestly. Like, I don't know if you guys remember Honest Bee a few years back here in the Philippines. I mean, when I looked at Honest Bee before, I was like, okay, it's too late to start. They already own the whole market, right? Like, but I don't think it's too late to start, because innovation can come from anyone, anywhere. And I think I'd like to encourage more retailers to start, more merchants to start, because I love shopping online too. So, and I love supporting Filipino businesses. So yeah, I'd love to see more Filipino Shopify stores.
Okay, and for our last question, guys, don't worry, Janica will be here asking, getting your questions later. But for our last question is, just want to ask Janica how she get her first 50 or 100 customers. Is it from organic reach or did it came from ads?
Yeah, so we were so lucky, not lucky. Oh my God, I shouldn't say that. I guess, would I say opportunity of crisis is opportunity? I guess to some extent. I mean, we started in the middle of the pandemic, so it was very chaotic because we were getting hundreds and hundreds of messages like how to shop, but our capacity couldn't keep up. So it was definitely like organic when we first started. We didn't even run paid ads until 6 months in. So yeah, definitely organic.
Thank you, and thank you so much, Jenica, for that very informative and heartfelt talk. So, Jenica, again, guys, will be sticking around in the chat. So, just continue to ask your questions in the comment section at the side, and she will be back later today for her next powerful talk.
Wow, thank you. Welcome, everyone. We're back. So if you've just joined us, my name is Narissa Show. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Filter.
And I am Acha Abed, the project manager of Filter, helping Filipinos get development, digital, design, and customer support jobs, and we are your hosts. We want to continue the Shopify love, guys, so please put the link to your Shopify store in the chat box and let us support each other.
Fantastic. So before we welcome our next fabulous speaker, we're up again for another competition with more giveaway prizes from PayMaya. So I'd love to introduce you to Bodog Ola, the CEO and co-founder of Creator and Raw and Fresh. Welcome, Bo. How are you?
Hey, Narissa, great to be here.
Okay, are you excited? Because this chat's going to go insane.
I'm super excited. Actually, I've got to keep my eyes focused on what's going on, so they're just blurring.
All right, okay. So, guys, this is the deal. To be a winner of a PayMaya gift card, Bo is going to choose 2 people who give the correct answers for each question in the chat. And we'll just do one at a time, okay? So please bear with us. So first question, what does Filter do? A, we help Filipinos in digital, tech, design, and e-commerce support get jobs. Or B, do we build shark nests? Bo, guys, go crazy, and Bo's going to randomly pick 2 winners.
All right, I'm going to quickly pick Melody. Hang on a second, where are we? I got Chestia Bearing, and God, I can't even read. They're going so fast. And Holland Lim.
There you go.
I could barely get them to stop. I'm actually not even getting it. There we go. Do we get
Perfect.
those?
Yeah, love it. Guys, make sure you message hello@Filter Global. Next question. So this is if you're paying attention to what Jenica was saying. How many Facebook recommendations did Shopsuki receive in their first 12 months of business? A, 15. B, 600 plus. C, 200. Go. And Bo's going to choose the winner. 2 winners.
Right, we've got Nico Castro. And I'll stop this here for a second. Kimberly Rose Basilio.
Woo! All right, congratulations. And our last question. What month did the Philippines beat a record for the world's largest Shopify meetup with over 1,000 people? A, April 2020. B, January 2021. Or C, November 2020. This is a tricky one.
So we've got Jahara Reyes first, and then Arij Gabriel Rollon for our second winner.
Fantastic. Bo, you're actually really good at this. So congratulations. Congratulations to our winners. And honestly, this is my sincerest pleasure to introduce you to one of my favorite Aussies, Bodog. Bodog Ola is the founder and CEO of Creator, a digital agency based in Sydney, and Raw and Fresh, Australia's favorite fresh pet food delivery service with convenient subscriptions. Creator's expertise centers on building brands' Shopify Plus accounts, creating engaging marketing strategies leading to conversions, and planning seamless end-to-end user experience. Bodog has an extensive background in web development, which led him to start Creator, and it was all about an idea to find individuals who share his goals in improving a company's online presence through online brochures. So that idea, many moons ago, has now stemmed to a full-scale digital media agency specializing in e-com services and Shopify Plus solutions. Bo believes that one size does not fit all and always believes in tailor-fitting the campaigns to fit the need of each client. So put your virtual hands up for Bodog.
Thanks very much, Narissa. I'm so excited. Actually, it's a really a topic that I'm really passionate about, and funnily enough, quick plug for Filter. I've got to say that part of what spurred this is hiring a data scientist a while back now, and she's been doing such a good job for us, and this has really kind of allowed me to put this presentation together, and I'm really excited actually to reach out to a lot of the marketing experts out there, because it's a funny field, because marketing is one of those things where I'm sure there's lots of you out there. I'm sure a lot of you merchants who've joined do your own marketing, and there'll be some very familiar terms here. But what I find really fascinating about this now is letting data-driven decisions and some technical decisions, rather than just thoughts and feelings, drive our marketing decisions here. So that's what this is all about. We're very excited. We work most with Shopify Plus clients, so we deal with very high GMV clients And of course, I've got my own merchant business in Raw and Fresh. So this is it's very close to my heart, because building that business from almost nothing up to where it is today, and obviously pet ownership during the pandemic really took off. And I've got some great insights for people on things that actually worked for Raw and Fresh that was serviced by Creator that can really help you guys out. So I'll get started right now. So acquisition and funnel management. This isn't new to people. It's advertising, it's marketing, it's where do you get people from. But this is about personalization. It's about using business intelligence and analytics for personalization, and that requires a strategy. So it's not just about going out there and slapping ads around or throwing them all around. You've got to start with a plan. And how do you get these people in? How do you make sure those people are valuable? And how do you then segment those people later on and service them in the right way and create great partnerships between you and the people that you engage with in your business? And I thought it was really interesting before Jenny sort of mentioned that they don't use the word customer, because it's interesting. It's a descriptive word. They are customers at the end of the day, but then it reminds me of when people use the word things like resources and assets to describe people, and while they're customers, by using the word customer, sometimes you almost kind of create a transactional nature to everything, and we like to refer to them as relationships in Raw and Fresh, because they really are, especially when people have they've got dogs and cats and loved ones. It's such a touchy subject. It's such a careful subject, and often people care more for those pets than they do for themselves. So we're talking about a very emotive service and an emotive product. So relationships is really what this is about, and creating tight relationships with those people. So we're super excited about nurturing those relationships and showing you how we've done that at Raw and Fresh. So there's an interesting side note before I start here, is that I'm not sure if make some notes in the chat if this is actually something you've experienced or you've heard about recently. But obviously iOS 14, some really strict privacy settings with iOS 14 and on Apple devices specifically. Now that doesn't always translate now to Android heavy users, but in Australia, I'd say about 90% of our client base use iOS 14. So this really affected us. And for the people who it does affect, having no contact with people at certain parts of your funnel is going to have a big impact. And what's interesting about that, it has forced us to create really real relationships from acquisition to retention through the whole funnel. And I actually think that's a good thing. I think that's really valuable for us to now start thinking of people not as surveillance assets in a database, but really direct connections between us and our customers. So planning your channels is the first part of all of this. You've probably all done this. You've done UTM parameters, and you've entered them into your systems to get them out of analytics. And anyone who's done some sort of some kind of slapdash marketing campaign will find, they almost get surprised by this. They go, oh crap, I have to enter some UTM parameters. What am I going to do here? And that's probably the biggest mistake you can make is trying to do this quickly, because getting a campaign and ad set group set up so that you can analyze that data later is the biggest part of data-driven analytics and data-driven business intelligence tools. So following consistent naming conventions for those things and understanding what you want to achieve out of those campaigns and diversifying the names and the target groups through campaign and ad set group naming conventions is the best way to start collecting that data at the top level of that funnel. And then, so just to recap for anyone who may not be familiar with this, we've got source being the channel. So a channel being something like Facebook or Google Ads or Instagram. The medium is the content type. Now, a lot of people make this quite broad, but we like to make it very narrow so we know exactly where people are engaging with our brands and understanding those channels. So rather than just call a channel social or organic or paid or CPC, we use custom channel groupings in analytics to really narrow these things down. So for example, Facebook feed might be one of them. Instagram feed might be one of them. Instagram story, Facebook story. So mediums are now very specific. The advantage you've got in channels like Facebook, for example, is you can use dynamic content placeholders for these. Like, for example, you can have placement as your placeholder before you create an ad. And then that will feed into the medium and the content type and start populating this data right from the outset. Then, of course, you've got content, which is the specific ad content. Is it a social proof ad? Is it a relationship building ad? Is it an engagement ad? What sort of ad are you publishing here? And what's the content of that ad, so that you can later on in your analytics see which ones are creating the most attention and calling in, whether it's videos, whether it's stills, whether it's carousels, or whether it's stories. You should really know where that traffic is coming from and who's engaging with you later on. So then you've got to understand, what are your goals and KPIs for that? Are you just trying to build brand awareness? Is it fast spread? Are you casting a wide net, or do you already know who's going to engage with your business? Are you selling a women's product specifically? Are you selling a men's product that primarily women buy? And there's also some really interesting decisions to be made there, because just because it's a men's product doesn't mean that only men buy it. And then what does success look like to you? So then you've got to ask questions like, how sticky is your product? Do you have a wider appeal across other channels? And if you've got a narrow appeal, do you have strong advocates? And what I mean by that is, when you've got a wide appeal, that might be like, a good example might be Shopsuki, right? So you've got a wide gamut of products that suits everybody. So that's a wide appeal product, and you can cover almost everyone in the entire population with your product offering. Some products have a narrow appeal. There's only one product. There's an air freshener or an air filter or something like that. We've got clients who fit into that category. Then it's different. You can't hit everybody with that product. You have to have advocates. So those people you need to start nurturing relationships with people who are going to be champions of your brand, who are going to suggest that to people, because you can't cast such a wide net to everybody. And then, what is your consideration flow? How long does it take people to make decisions about your product? Is it impulse buy? Is it cheap? Is it expensive and therefore requires research? Or even just decision-making processes for budgeting? Or is it a care product like Raw and Fresh? And this is where we fall into, where we have a long consideration flow, where people are very careful about changing the diets of their pets. They're very used to getting vet-recommended things like dry foods or sort of biscuits and those sorts of things. And because we make a fresh product, it's a big diverse from what people are used to. So they're not going to do that easily. It's going to sound good, great. I should feed my pet fresh products, but I'm also making a change, and change is scary. So how long is that flow, and how have you established how long that takes? And using analytics to work out the first time someone engages with your brand, and then when they actually make a decision, and the average time it takes to do that, and how many times they need to engage with you, which is the frequency of your ads, or the frequency of your engagement and customer service and questions and answers. That's what's going to give you these answers to your questions later on down the track, which is, how do I keep these people interested long enough to actually make a purchase and then buy more again? And then once people are convinced, what are your abandonment risks? What's the chance of someone leaving you after they've already made a decision? I mean, that's the hardest part, convincing someone to buy from you. There's nothing worse than then having someone go, oh, well, yeah, great, but I'm not going to buy again. So how do you understand at the time that someone decides to abandon your product, and if and when? I mean, we all want to be perfect. We want that to never happen, but let's be real, it will happen. And then moving on to Cohort Foundation with reinforcement. So when I say cohort, I mean a weekly set of customers, new customers specifically, or a cohort can also be re-engaging customers that you've lost a long time ago that you can almost consider new when they come back. So as part of that, I might kind of diverge a little bit from the dry data talk and start talking into sort of some fun areas that we try to focus on at Raw, which is reinforcement of our brand and reinforcement of behaviors that we want. We've always heard about reinforcement in terms of, there's reward and consequence, right? You want to reward people for doing great things, and there's always a consequence for doing something wrong. We as a business experience consequences for doing things wrong all the time. But then we want to give rewards to people when they're doing great things, and that gets us excited, right? So the first point is, don't leave that to chance. Don't let them tell you when you're doing the right, the right thing, or how to say, what they say how they should feel is, in reality, it's best for you to define what a great experience is. So happy pups is a good example. So we want to show in advertising that our puppies are happy before they buy. Of course, they're going to tell you after they buy, but before they buy, it's better if you actually seed that happy feeling. So we do that in our advertising. Gather social proof everywhere you can, of course. In this ad that I've given as an example, you've got a super excited dog, you've got a fresh product right next to them, you've got the dog themselves saying that I clean every bowl. So this idea of, well, this dog's going to eat the product and they're going to eat it all, which is by and large what actually happens. But to predict that for the person so they don't have to ask the question, oh, will my dog eat this? Will they be fussy? We say absolutely they will. Of course they will. And then, of course, well, don't take our word for it. Read the reviews. Then you've got this idea of creating personal relationships, which is things like hello again. So when someone inquires with you, if you're using a great customer service platform, a good example would be Gorgeous, of course, is if you're using one of those platforms, then if someone's come back to you, you'll obviously see if they've contacted you before. So hello again. There's no better feeling than for a returning customer than to really feel like, okay, they recognized me. And it's so easy to do in these platforms, and you don't even need to be fake about it. They're right there. You've spoken to them before. Welcome back to your fold and say that you're happy to service them. Then enhance that mood. If they're happy with your product, say that's awesome, because it is. You're rewarding that compliment with another compliment, saying this is really great. And then show dedication. Say things like reach out anytime, or we're always here. Dedication to service. Yes, it can be assumed, and yes, if you've got great response rate, like it's funny. I was so sort of warmed when I heard saying Shopsuki was looking for 2-minute or less than 5-minute response times. That's something that I was very passionate about at Raw and Fresh as well. Reinforce that and tell them that they can take advantage of that experience anytime they like. That you're always available for them, and then create a group affinity like most people like. So when someone asks you a question where they're not sure about a decision, you can say, well, most people do this. And that kind of creates another point of validation for them, saying, okay, well, I'm making the right decision because most other people are doing that. And then set expectations on people. Another example is we make fresh to order. So every single batch is made completely fresh with fresh produce straight from the farm. So it does take a week to get to people. We can't send it straight away because it's not frozen, it is fresh. So we say things like, it's worth the wait. That again tells them, well, okay, well, I'm not going to be complaining about that now because it's going to be worth it. And reward that satisfaction. So if someone is satisfied and they give you that great feedback, tell them that they're the best, that you love them for that. Oh, we love you, your dog's cute, and you are the best. And it has to be genuine, right? So here I've got a bit of a graph, which is actually quite it's built from real data here. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, it's really started raining outside, so hopefully you can hear me okay and it's drowning that out. But basically, this is a real graph of the potential rate of decline of repeat orders from a system. Again, everybody really wants to believe that everyone's going to order once and then order again. But for every business, the first reorder is most likely the chance that the time you're going to drop people off. Your retention rate's going to be 55, 65% if you're lucky. That's on a good day. So you can see I've identified that first drop from the first to second order. And you can measure the rate of decline there, and then you reinforce people's behavior at the point of the greatest risk. So here you can see in a sort of data sense is that once you hit that second order, that rate of decline really flattens out. The jump from the second to the third to the fourth to the fifth is actually 5%, whereas the jump from the first to the second is about 35%. So we had to ask ourselves, why aren't people reordering the second time, but when they do a second time, they order very consistently up to pretty much forever? And the answer actually was quite easy. It's lack of education. So where are you losing interest? And we started asking a lot of questions and trying to work out, we sort of started thinking, what are the best ways to ask, to survey people and then to reinforce them at this point and educate them on the product, and where can we pay attention to that point of risk? So I've included a bunch of photos here because this is something we really do with our second email, our follow-up email and our welcomes, where sometimes they just need validation. So we've got all these cute puppies and cute dogs. We're really lucky because we don't even have to work for these. We don't even have to incentivize them. People are desperate to send us these photos. And we get stories on Instagram, Facebook, and people are just, every week we get hundreds of these just come through to us where people are saying, look at my dog with this product, and they absolutely love it. And they send the cutest photos. We love them so much. And that's a great point to then send to people who are on the fence to say, well, these people aren't on the fence. They love it. And these dogs love it. So they're a really good point, a really good asset to reuse and to send to those people who might be on the fence. Going back to then, well, how do you find that information out? So surveys, obviously, everyone knows what surveys are. Here's the problem. They're very hard to get people to fill in, especially long one. People hate forms. Don't create work for those people. You can ask small questions often and ask them when it counts. So I've got a little example here of an email. So Klaviyo, if you use Klaviyo, or really any email system will do this for you, but Klaviyo makes this super easy, where you can add profile items about a person with just a click of a button. So what we do here is we have a button in the email, which is basically something along the lines of, was this great? And we say yes or no. And so the idea being, well, if it's yes, then click the button. If it's no, click the button. Each time you click one of those things, you can send them to a certain place. So if it's yes, we thank them for something. We might even give them a voucher or some sort of an offer or show them products that might be related to them. If it's no, we often ask them for more information, or we'll manually reach out to them with a customer service representative and say, well, why was that? Can we help? It's quite interesting because people are actually quite used to getting pretty bad customer service. You'd be surprised, but it's such a fundamental of business that you'd think, oh, well, that's obvious. Everyone should give good customer service. But so many times we've found people who didn't reach out to us to solve a problem because they just assumed that we wouldn't really be helpful, that we were almost too big to help them. Mainly because it's often true. If you try to reach out to a big manufacturer of food, you'll get a nameless, faceless person. They might throw, an odd free packet of food at you or something like that, but it feels like they're just trying to pay you off. We really genuinely care and reach out to these people. So if someone says they're not impressed or not happy for some reason, we tend to find it's because of a lack of education, really, that they don't understand how to handle the product, or they fed it at the time, or their dog's sensitive to it or something, and we can offer something else. So our fanatical service can really help them out there. And then also, well, what's the incentive to answer those questions? Am I just going to feed your data bot? Is that what I really want to do in this case? Do I just want to give you information about me and let you further invade my privacy? And so sometimes you have to really incentivize that. And we do that with our weekly free box giveaway, where each time we give something away, we say, tell us something. We say, tell us something about yourself. Like, do you have a dog? Do you have a cat? Do you have both? What are the things that we can contact you about that aren't just hoovering up information? They're actually really relevant to how we give you more value. So we need to know if you've got a dog or a cat, not just by the products that you order, but by you just telling us. And here's a really interesting point of view on the getting explicit knowledge told to you by customers is back to the iOS 14 question. Because you can't track that stuff as well anymore on the acquisition side of things, by directly asking how people understood or learned about your brand with these micro questions, that's super helpful. So instead of going, well, where in the funnel, or do I do multi-channel attribution, and where do I find where that person engaged with me the most, and where should I spend my money? Ask them, how did you hear about us? Facebook, Google, and so on. So that was actually direct advice given to me by some helpful representatives from those companies. And I thought that was really amazing because I'd never sort of seen that recommended by a marketing person before, which is just ask them, right? And then tagging your chats is another one. Once again, if you're using Gorgeous, then you can, on those chats, tag them by subject. So once you're building that data up, you can say subject feedback, feedback negative, or things like that. So by segmenting those chats themselves, you can run analytics and say, by and large, a good example might be, are my dog customers generally more happy? Are my cat customers generally more picky? There are really interesting insights you can gain by, at the time of contact, finding out some more information. Then another really interesting point is, well, you should use that data. This is where the personalization comes in, right? So everyone's probably wondering, he was going to talk about personalization. It took him a really long time to get here. But this is really where it's valuable. A good example might be, if you have said whether you've got a puppy or a cat or a dog, we actually use those in our email communications from that point onwards. So every email you receive doesn't just have a generic image anymore, or a generic dog or a generic cat. It's actually got the pet that you've got, a puppy, cat, or dog. We've actually started now segmenting that into breeds, where we show people the breed of dog that they got, and sometimes even reuse their own photos to show back to them, to show that this is your dog enjoying our product. And that's where we come to learning and establishing segments. So RFM segmentation is really what you'll start learning about. And I do encourage people to study this, because I could speak for at least another 25 minutes and we don't have that time. But what we're talking about here is recency, which is how recently you've engaged with our business. Frequency, how often do you engage with us? And then the monetary value, how valuable those engagements are and how much do you spend during those engagements, and how much do you value us and trust us to spend more money. And to break those down, recent relationships need education. So those people need to be taught about your products. Frequent relationships need variety to avoid boredom. So if someone engages with you frequently, then you need to offer them variety so you don't get attrition in the form of boredom. Then you've got the high value relationships, the ones who spend the most money, they require validation. Well, I've spent money and I'm buying stuff from you, so I need some validation to show that you value that. What are you going to give me? Loyalty points, free products, sample products at checkout. How do I get rewarded for being so loyal to you and spending so much money? And then you can reward those relationships that exhibit all three. Make sure you show those people, if you're filling every RFM segment for us, then we really care about that. We're going to have to gift you something. You're not just an asset for us to use and reuse. You're really valuable to our business, and we want to engage with you over and over again. And then embrace those advocates. So how do you show them that you care directly, one-on-one through your customer service platforms, but also through your marketing communications? And more importantly, how do you create aspiration for others through those people? So you want other people to want to aim to be those people, and showcase them and say, look at this puppy, or look at this person. They're having a great time with our product. They're buying every variety, and it's really working for them, and they're feeling better. Their dog's coat is shiny, and you should probably want to be like them. So that's it. So hopefully we can answer some great questions here. You're always welcome to reach out to me if you've got anything else to ask. And I'm really glad to have been here.
Woohoo! Bo, that was amazing. I think we've got time for 5 questions. How does that sound?
Perfect.
All right, you choose what you want to answer and we'll go from there.
Let's have a look. I have to, all right, where are we? Okay, return policy. I'll sort of go from, I'll try to sort of, I'll try to get in a bit. It's hard. Hopefully, if you want, Narissa, while I'm answering this one, because so many have scrolled past while I was talking, I don't actually know which ones are sort of possibly the most valuable. So I'll ask for your guidance as well. But return policy is really important. Obviously, you want people to feel comfortable. We're in an interesting situation in Raw and Fresh because it is expensive. So we deliver refrigerated end to end. So just telling people that we have a lot of competitors who say no questions asked, money back guarantee. Now we actually don't advertise that. We don't make it up front, mainly because we want to create real loyalty with our brand, and we want people to properly engage with it and not just tire kick. We don't want people to go, well, send me a box because I know that I can just throw it away later on and get it for free anyway. We want people to genuinely make a decision to do the right thing there. And so we don't advertise it, but in our case, I definitely recommend you have a no questions asked policy, but you don't always have to tell them up front. So in short, we do have a no questions asked policy at the end. If someone comes to us and says, hey, look, my dog didn't like this, that could be for a number of reasons. In most cases, it's actually because they didn't follow the instructions and they left it in the fridge too long, or they did something silly along the way. We never blame them. We never question that. We always just say, we've got great articles to help them do that the right way, and information is key. And then we say, no questions asked, we'll send you a replacement, or we'll send you an assortment of flavors to try to get you back over the line. And really, if you look at that in a percentage scheme of things, we probably spend maybe 0.025% of our revenue on keeping people happy like that. So it really doesn't cost much. And we recommend that you be fanatical about that return policy.
Love it. Great answer. Efren Show would love to ask you, how do you use this data to identify at-risk customers and win them back?
Yeah, so there's a metric Klaviyo that helps you do that. So we use Klaviyo very extensively as a CDP, a customer data platform. It's not purpose-built for that necessarily, but it's a great way to start. There are systems like Segment, which get really expensive, or Exponia, and definitely you'll progress those eventually. But Klaviyo lets you do some of that really good, so really well from the start. Like, for example, churn risk. Klaviyo has a built-in churn risk, which actually looks at an individual person's purchasing behavior and will see how regularly they expect them to purchase, because different people are different. Some people buy every 6 weeks and in bigger amounts, and some people buy weekly. So you can't say that weekly is your expected return rate, because not everyone comes back weekly. Whereas Klaviyo is quite good at measuring that on a per customer basis. So you can actually segment people directly in Klaviyo and resend an email to a customer just on that. So that's how we identify them. And generally what we do is actually we try to win them back without even an offer up front. We basically say, was there something wrong first? Again, because we don't want people to get into this habit where they go, well, if I wait X amount of time, I can just get a free offer and I'll get it back. We don't want people to buy from us because there are discounts. We want them to be truly loyal to us. So a lot of our competitors offer 70% off their first order and things like that and try to bait and switch them into subscriptions. But we want truly loyal customers, very similar to Apple does. They don't do sales. They don't do offers. They want you to buy their product because you love it, not because you've been kind of arm wrestled into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, love it. In terms of those key metrics, and apologize everyone, this is a question from me. What are the key metrics you keep track of in these data sets?
Yeah, so the main one is churn risk. That's the big one, because especially first to second order, we're very sensitive about that rebuy rate and getting that higher. Mainly because every marketer will know it's more expensive to acquire new customers than it is to retain existing ones. You've already paid to acquire that customer through word of mouth, or just through value propositions, or even just straight up money for advertising. You're better off keeping them than to just try to kind of go, well, okay, I'm just going to keep getting more. And that's something that we fall into the big trap as marketers with is well, if we're making 1,000 new customers a week and we're losing 200, it's not a big deal. It's like, well, if you can halve the attrition rate, that's even better. So we really try to look for churn risk as our most important metric.
Love it. 2 last questions. Sitharam, apologies if I'm not pronouncing it accurately, but great questions today. To Bo, what's the e-commerce platform suggested for a consumer durable retailer?
Always Shopify. We're very biased in that sense. I won't hide that. We made the decision to partner with Shopify 10 years ago when we started our agency, and we had options with other platforms, especially with Magento at the time. But we sort of picked the right horse, so to speak. We built the 1004th Shopify store with Creator very, very long time ago. They're up to 1.7 million now. And just because I felt like I backed the right horse there, I keep backing that horse, because the main reason being is that you don't have to, all my passion for data here and all my passion for working on the business is supported by the fact that I don't have to sit there on the weekend worrying about why my server's not up, or why there's technical difficulties with anything. The platform does that job, and I can just stick to being a merchant.
Love it. Final question. It's actually from Kez. I love the idea that you use the word relationships when describing customers. Her question is following really Jenica's talk as well. How do you spark relationships from your point of view while still being data driven and looking at every little detail?
So Spark, I assume, means start those relationships. And I think the most important way to start is we listen. And it's really interesting because I'll have to give Filter yet another plug here. This is unashamed, but our customer service team come from Filter, and we have an exceptional customer service lead in our business at Raw and Fresh, and she essentially propagates that to all the other team members, and really gives them that passion for empathy. And I think that's the first thing we teach, is this idea of too many customer service systems are based on ticket closure and KPIs. Close this many tickets, respond this fast, and so on, right? Now for us, response rate is absolutely vital. That's very easy to do because you can respond to someone, you can say, I'm here and I'm listening, but then you have to start listening. That's the most important part of things when you spark that relationship. I'm listening. But then you've got to stop and actually read what they're asking. And sometimes people are a bit ambiguous. You've got to go, well, what do they need? They want this, but do they need something else? So that interpretation. So to answer that question, how do we spark those relationships? It is one-on-one. Like it really is, because we invite people at every touch point. And I think, Jenica mentioned this as well, is don't hide your contact. There's nothing worse than a business that makes it really obscure to contact them. Shout it from the rooftops. You can get in contact. In fact, we want you to, because there's nothing worse than a customer that you don't know why they left. You want information. You want them to complain if they're unhappy. Don't be afraid of negative feedback. And you can always intercept it before it becomes a public bad review. And I think that's the key there for those relationships.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bodo. We really appreciate this amazing presentation. We've all learned so much. And we've already got Carl Louis who's saying he can't wait to see the recording because he missed some of your presentation. So that's amazing. Thank you again.
Thanks, guys.
And thank you so much, Bo. And before we have the pleasure of hearing Jenica speak again, in the next gorgeous emoji competition, we will launch the second emoji. So again, guys, don't forget to jot it down. And at the end of the webinar, we will ask you to write the 3 emojis in the comment section. So don't forget, it should be in the correct order. And we will be picking 5 lucky winners who will receive 5 Food Panda vouchers worth 1,000 pesos each. So remember to take note of this, and we are playing the second emoji now. What will it be, Kuya Phil? Thank you so much, Kuya Phil, for that second emoji. Now let's welcome back to the stage Jenica Chiang, the founder of Shopsuki. Hi, Jenica.
Hello. Happy to be back again. It was so insightful, that talk by Bo, for sure. I learned a lot about marketing. I feel like I just had a big refresh about marketing analytics and got me so excited again. So I will be sharing with you guys a little bit more about the operations side of e-commerce. I know there's been a lot of talk about marketing and relationships. So I guess this is another perspective. So I will be sharing with you guys how we basically hacked our way into scaling really quickly, how we use a lot of paper, and how we managed to milk Shopify for our growth. I know e-commerce operations in general, the thought of it can be quite intimidating. If you guys Google e-commerce fulfillment online, I'm sure you'll just see a massive, big automated Amazon warehouse, right? But just know that we all need to start from somewhere. Just to give you guys some insight about myself personally and letting you know that operations is for anyone and everyone. This was me a few years back. I actually graduated from the University of the Arts London. I went to art school. I did fashion. I did fashion marketing. So very, very far away from grocery. And this was me a few months back in the supermarket Shopsuki life. So just know that operations can be for anyone. And I think the biggest fighting spirit mindset is JFDI. I'm going to do a filtered version of JFDI because I know my parents are watching. So just freaking do it. Just freaking do it. I think that's the fighting spirit for operations. The hardest part of starting is actually starting. The rest of it will figure itself out. At least that's how we've been functioning so far. So just JFDI. So these are a few things that I'm going to talk you guys through today. So a little bit about how we dealt with complexities around multi-zone picking. We pick across different departments because we have over 20,000 products on site, fresh food, groceries, pharmacy essentials. We sell appliances. You can buy a microwave. You could even buy an inflatable pool on Shopsuki. So how we dealt with disasters. Unfortunately, here in the Philippines, we've had a few calamities in the last year beyond the pandemic. How we manage accountability in our team, and a few app recommendations and workarounds that we found in our journey. So one of the things I'd really like to share with everybody is the importance of not comparing your day one with someone's day 1000. I know when we first started, it's so hard to get perspective of how big you should be right now, like how far along you should be right now. And I definitely dealt with a lot of that when we first started. Like I felt like we weren't growing fast enough. I'd always compare myself to I used to work for a warehouse that was run by robots. So that's quite a big comparison to make, right? But know that, it's always somebody's day one, just how today it's day one for us again here in Zamboanga. This is what our day one looked like. This bleak room, unfinished tiles, unfinished walls, a few push carts, some foldable tables, some borrowed computers, and a few staff. This is our team. We slowly evolved. This was, I think, around 60 days later, we've evolved into our grocery parking lot, pushcart parking lot. Okay, we thought this was the coolest thing, that we had these arrows. It was one-way traffic. We had allocated slots for our carts. But that was a terrible, terrible idea. It was an absolute disaster because we had cart traffic jams. Our team, they were getting lost in this space. And as you can see, I don't know if you guys can zoom in, but there were only slots for 60 carts. That's it. So we pretty much already limited ourselves to 60 carts in one go from the get-go. And so again, we've evolved from that. So this is closer to where we are today. So this is a photo from early in January in our main fulfillment center. So we've kind of evolved a little bit more since then. But now we have our own micro fulfillment center. We use these picking carts, that's for grocery picking. So we can pick 6 orders at once. We have these pink totes. So not only does it look good, it stores a lot more things in a lot smaller space. And we're using more technology now. We have our own picking app. We have our own packing app. So operations, again, can be quite intimidating. But I think what's really helped us from day one is just simplifying it to these few simple stages. There's an extra step here that's unique to grocery, but more or less, e-commerce fulfillment is very simple. It's just these few stages. So first, picking. Then for us, we pick fresh, you pack the order goes out, it's being dispatched, and then you have your Suki service, customer service, after sales care. So something that makes it really simple is asking these questions. So what do you actually need to know in each step? What does your team need to know for each step? And I think these questions actually remain the same no matter how big you get. Simple questions such as, when does your order need to be picked by? Who's picking your order? If you're selling fresh items, is it still fresh? Is it still edible? Would you want somebody to eat this? When you're packing items, have you packed your items on time? How many parcels do you need to pack for this order? How big is the parcel? So if you do third-party fulfillment, perhaps you need to figure out how big is the box? Is it a box? Is it an envelope? And when it's time for dispatch, have you delivered your order when you needed to deliver it? Especially like us, you have shorter fulfillment times if you do same-day service or next-day service. Where is your order going to? And have you delivered the correct number of parcels, correct number of packages? And finally, when it comes to Suki service, who is concerned? How bad is it? Have you dealt with it on time? And who's responsible for the concern, right? So no matter how complex your operations is, what kind of technology you're using, how much money you're committing to fulfillment applications, these are the questions that you would need to answer. So when we look at Shopify's dashboard, so this is a preview of Shopify's dashboard. I'm sure yours looks the same. So this is our development store. These are not real customers, not real orders. Sad to say, Shopify's dashboard is really not built for fulfillment at scale. So perhaps like us, your fulfillment may not be linear. So your orders don't come out the same way they come in. So for us, we have delivery dates. You could choose your delivery date, or we have pickup, or if you use third-party fulfillment, perhaps you have different schedules depending on international, local orders, or what part of the Philippines your order goes to. And potentially you might need more details at a high level. You might want to see your customer contact information in one go. You might want to see which picker is responsible for that order. So going back again to those questions earlier, this view is kind of lacking the answers to those key questions. And if you're on a budget, like us when we first started, and okay, like us now, hashtag Kuriput lifestyle, right? Shopify, even though they kind of like lure you in with the free trial, the basic plans at $30, slowly and slowly, as you scale up, you'll realize you're actually stranded. You need to like keep pushing for the higher and higher, more expensive plan to cater more people. So driving a higher cost per user if you have a lot of people in your team using Shopify. So we have a workaround, completely legal workaround, by the way, Shopify, that has allowed us to use these tools for over 70 people when we first started, even though our account limit was like 15. I highly recommend to everybody, just get this one app. If you're starting operations, starting fulfillment, just get this one Shopify app. It's called Sync with Google Sheets. So it's created by this very talented developer. His name is Olivier. Olivier has saved our butt so many times last year. We basically owe Shopsuki to him, of course, after our Sukis, because of this simple app. So it only costs $20 a month. It syncs your data a limited number of times, real time, with Shopify to Google Sheets. And the beauty of this is that you get two views. You get a high level view of all your orders. So you have your contact information, order number, and all of that. And you get an item level view of your orders in just one sheet. So if your fulfillment is, your items per order is a lot lower, unlike us in grocery, then it might fit into one sheet. So this could be very useful for you. And with this view, with this data, you could actually customize your views to make it relevant for each team. So again, if we go back to those questions for each stage of operations, you can tweak customized views that's actually useful for you guys and your operations flow. I guess my biggest advice here, please don't make the same mistake that we did, is that do your work in a separate sheet. Don't do your work where you pull in your raw data, because anyone in your team can touch it and basically ruin everything. So I suggest use the formula import range, take this data somewhere else, don't touch the sheet, and make sure you protect your views. Just like in Shopify, you have permissions. Make sure you have people only able to access the views that are relevant to them, and don't let people access like all the views, even though they don't need to access it. So yeah, protect your columns, protect your views, and you'll save yourself a lot of pain. So highly recommend this to grow really quickly at the beginning. And guys, to be honest with you, like we actually ended up using this for quite a long time, like dealing with hundreds and hundreds of orders each day on a simple Google Sheet. It was useful, but chaotic, right? And so I know we're all very enthused about being eco-friendly, saving the planet. But as a small business, I want to tell you guys, everyone, that paper is your friend. So luckily at Shopsuki, we do take the environment quite seriously. We do recycle our paper. We reuse our paper. We actually turn our paper into egg trays. So we have a partner that does that, so that no paper, not much paper anyways, is wasted, right? So a key example for when this has been like so useful for us is actually during our dispatch process. So if you look at a dispatch process in a big e-commerce warehouse, you'll see these conveyor belts. You'll see these totes, you'll see these barcode scanners, barcode printers. So very, very costly things. So here at Shopsuki, we've managed to develop a very high-tech and efficient way to replicate this dispatch process. And all it took us was this: a clipboard, paper, and our dispatch cage. So congratulations. I just saved everybody thousands of dollars. So if anybody wants to pay our Shopify Plus plan for the month, I would really appreciate that. But yeah, I'm telling you guys, all these expensive tools, they're just means to get the job done. At the end of the day, as a brand, as a merchant, you're not a technology company. You are not an operations, or like you're not a warehouse. You're not running a warehouse company, right? You want to get products to your Sukis. You want to deliver right service. So these tools are just a means for you to achieve that. So this is why I really encourage everybody to improvise. So the best part about paper is that you can track data across teams who are completely offline, because not everybody has access to a smartphone or a desktop. And it works without electricity or internet, two of our favorite things here in the Philippines. So we can continue to operate with these obstacles. Speaking of obstacles, so know that and expect things will go wrong. And so it's key that you pinpoint where these things could be. So again, breaking down the stages of operations. So picking, perhaps you haven't picked it yet, or you've lost the order in your warehouse, you've lost the order in your stock room, or the item is expired if you're selling perishable things. When it comes to fresh, perhaps poor quality control, you haven't weighed something correctly, you've lost the order. When you're packing, maybe a parcel is missing, or you've packed the incorrect number of items, or you've packed too much, or you've packed the wrong item. And then finally, with dispatch, again, if you have short fulfillment times, maybe your dispatch has delayed, or you've left behind parcels, packages, or worst case scenario, you have completely lost your parcels, you don't know where they are, your van needs to go, it's cutoff time, the order is going to be delayed, right? So know that these things will happen. So kind of figuring out where these points can be can help you be more proactive when you design these views and plans to help your team. So I'm just going to share some videos and photos of things that we've experienced on our first year. So starting on the left, no electricity. This is how we operated with flashlights on our phones and emergency lights. This went on for a few hours. So that's one highlight. The second highlight I'd like to share is flooding after a typhoon. So half our team couldn't get to work. We couldn't deliver to some places because it was completely flooded. If only we have Suki boats, then I would very much like to row to someone's house to deliver their groceries. And another highlight last year was an earthquake in Jensan, in General Santos. We actually experienced this quite frequently, earthquakes. So this earthquake, we ended up, our freezer stopped working. So all our frozen meat and chilled items completely defrosted. And we had hundreds of orders to deliver that day, no meat. So we ended up having to call every single one of our Sukis that was going to be affected to let them know, I'm so sorry, but your order is going to be delayed, but don't worry, we'll figure something out. And finally, again, something that we're all familiar with, unfortunately, is network advisory, public advisory. You have no cell service, no internet in the entire island. So this happened actually quite a few times. Apparently, major fiber optic cable was like cut off, and like the whole island had no internet, no cell service. So basically you have to run an e-commerce company with no cell service, no electricity, in an earthquake, basically whatever means necessary, right? So I'm just gonna share with you guys a few things we've had to figure out. And so I highly recommend that there's always a plan B. No matter what happens, there's always a way. You'll find a way. Challenges help us come up with new ideas. So one thing that we've had to do is actually take those freezer orders home. So we ran out of freezer space one time, and during the earthquake, we've actually had to like empty out our own freezers at home, take the orders and put them in our freezer. We always have food to eat. Well, we might not have food to eat, but hopefully our Sukis will the next day. Another story was December 31 last year. So if you think of all the days that need to go successfully when you're delivering groceries, I would say December 31 is one of those days where things need to go well. Okay, somebody will forgive you if you fail to deliver on January 2, but if you fail to deliver for somebody's New Year's Eve dinner, it's an absolute disaster. They will never forgive you, right? So it was such a beautiful day, sunshine all around. I was so excited to go to work. We started going to work early at 4 a.m. By 5 p.m., I had a fever. Our supervisors had fevers. They had to go home. We've run out of vans. Our drivers had to go home because they had to be back for New Year's Eve. Some of them lived really far away. 5 p.m., 20 orders, no more cars, no more drivers, barely any tricycles left. So we just gathered up every single last member of Shopsuki and we were like, right, 10 of us, 20 parcels, let's do it. 2 parcels each. Do you have a motorcycle? Do you have a motorcycle? Oh, look, there's a tricycle there. And find any means necessary to make sure it gets to the Suki's house. So yeah, that's how the day started. This is how the day ended. Lots and lots of tricycles. Another thing I'd like to recommend to everybody, get one of these phones, or 10. These Samsung phones are 990 pesos. And let me tell you the number of times this has saved their butt. The best part about these phones is that they're so durable, and in low signal areas, these work perfectly, way better than any smartphone. They're extremely reliable. Along with that, I highly recommend that you buy SIM cards from every single service provider because there's always one of them that's down. So with a SIM card from every provider, you ensure that you're able to reach your Sukis and your Sukis are able to reach you. And of course, your pocket Wi-Fi. Never run an e-commerce business in the Philippines without pocket Wi-Fi. Another story was when we didn't have internet in our store, but we had to print orders. We had lots of orders coming in and no internet. So what we ended up doing is that I go home, print orders, and then 30 minutes later, come back to the store and go back and forth basically until we ran out of gas, just to make sure that we keep the operations going and our Sukis receive our orders. So again, improvise, adapt, and overcome is the story of e-commerce fulfillment. And key here is, of course, managing expectations. So going back to the comparison of fulfillment and dating, right? Over communication with your Sukis is better than no communication. If you know things will go wrong, let your Sukis know. Make sure that the relevant messaging is there when they need it. So if your slots are fully booked, if you know people's orders are going to be delayed, make sure that that information is visible to them. And along with that, of course, don't make promises you can't keep. Don't say, oh, your order's on the way out, or your order is nearly there, even though you know it's still a few hours away, it's still in your warehouse, or it's still being picked. So I highly recommend that everybody, like we as merchants, manage our Suki's expectations. And finally, we should always look towards the future and create a culture of growth. At Shopsuki, one of our key values is that we are never satisfied. We're always trying new things, trying new apps all the time. And just like things can go wrong in operations, trying new things can go wrong too. But the more times you go wrong, the more chances you get to getting things right. So breakthroughs can literally come from anywhere and anyone. So it's so key for you as a leader to get feedback from your team as much as possible at every step of the way, because nobody knows operations better than the people who are doing it day in and day out. So unless you're picking for 8 hours a day, it's these users, your staff, your team that would know how to make these processes faster, right? And finally, even though fulfillment can be quite intimidating, starting a new business can be very scary. You might be faced with a lot of these hurdles, disasters, some level of calamity in our case. It actually just boils down to this, right? The solution to every problem we've faced so far and every single problem that you will face as a business owner actually boils down to this one question. The answer to this question is the right answer to every single problem that you will face. It is this. What is best for our Suki? What is best for our Suki? Whatever is the answer to this question, that is the right answer to every single problem. If you don't know what to do, just answer that question, and that's the right answer. Anyone in our team, any new starters, I tell them, if you're ever confused and you can't find anybody, I want to empower you to be able to make the decisions, the right decisions for our Suki. So just answer this question, and no matter what decision you make, we'll never hold it against you, right? There's always another day. And so that's all. I hope I was able to share a little bit, some valuable insights with you guys. Come say hi to us. Facebook, Instagram, email me, find me on LinkedIn. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Janica. That is really awesome and helpful. And one of the things that I like is the 3 words that you have mentioned, which is to improvise, adapt, and overcome. So now moving on to our questions. Are you ready, Janica?
Sure, hopefully.
Okay, so we have a question from Kes. From a high-level perspective, because your items are perishable, right? So how did you devise a very efficient process to make sure that these items get stored, picked, and delivered on time?
Okay, that's quite a broad question. Well, we started honestly, it's as if we have a piece of paper. We write down all the orders that need to be delivered the next day, and we just start checking things off. And if the things haven't been checked off, then it might be late. So we start looking for it. When we first started, that's really how we've done it. But obviously now it's a little bit more automated than that. We're using a newer version of, I guess, like Google Sheets, a more involved version of Google Sheets. But yeah, sorry, it's a really broad question.
Yeah, it's all right. But next question is from Bodog. So he says, Janica, how do you keep picking errors low at scale, both at the time of picking and dispute resolution? Mistakes happen, and how do you encourage a culture of perfection while knowing it's impossible to be perfect?
Oh, thanks, Bo. I think it's about checks and balances. So again, identifying those pain points. So during picking, we always say, don't look at the photo, look at the barcode. So like this barcode, so you always look at the barcode, never like base it on the title. When we first started, like obviously it was the paper method. So we'd actually get people to like write out the barcode again to make sure it's correct. But obviously maybe that's not sustainable now. So we do use some form of barcode scanner to make picking easier. But then the check and balance comes during the packing stage again, when everything needs to be rechecked, everything needs to be repunched. So just having that simple check and balance helps those mispick numbers go down.
Awesome. And we have another question from Kes. How did you instill that culture of growth and dedication within your team, especially since you're scaling fast and have a lot of employees in different areas?
I think it starts from their first day. Every single staff that comes in, I talk to them one by one, or like whoever's starting that day, and I just said, kung maarte ka, umuwi ka na, kasi hindi to bagay sa'yo. So I say, if I don't know what's maarte in English.
I don't think we have a translation.
Okay, it's basically if you're the kind to complain, just go home. This work is not for you. I was like, if we have to jump 10 times, we have to do like 100 jumping jacks, roll through 10 hoops, we have to do it. So I think it starts with hiring and getting the right people in your team. Don't complain, just get on with the work, see the mission at hand, like see the goal. It always starts with the people.
Yes. So to the guys out there who are interested, one of the requirements is you should not be maarte. Or maybe next question from Carl. If I can ask a question for Janica, what is the best advice you can give for someone starting out in the e-commerce business, or specifically food industry? We don't have Sukis yet, and we hope to be able to replicate your customer service.
Just do it. Stop planning. Just do it. Do it tomorrow. Do it today.
JFDI.
The hardest part is just doing it. Like, what is a business even? Like, if you sell to your tita tomorrow, you're basically a business, right? You have a product. You have your first Suki, your tita. That's it. Just do JFDI.
Thank you so much, Jenica. And feel free to stay in the chat and answer the participants' question. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, guys, we will launch our last and third emoji. So again, the instructions. So don't forget to jot it down. And at the end of the webinar, we will ask you to write the 3 emojis in the comment section. Both Jenica and Bo will pick the winners later. So don't forget to chat it in the correct order. Again, guys, in the correct order. And we will be picking out the 5 winners who will receive 5 Food Panda vouchers worth 1,000 pesos each from Gorgeous, one of our sponsors for this event. Okay, now you have seen the last emoji. Is everyone ready to chat their answers in the correct order?
I think, guess what? I think we've got something very special for them, Acha.
Okay,
we actually have the video with the 3. So we're going to cheat a little bit. We're going to help everyone a little bit and do the last video, which has it in the right order.
Okay, Tala and Phil, bring it on.
Perfect. So what we're going to do is it's great, everyone's putting it in the chat right now, bring on Bodog and Jenica. They're going to pick the 5 winners. This is going to be hard.
Yes, this is intense right now. Chat is fast.
It is super fast. You're going to pick 5 winners. They're getting a Food Panda voucher worth 1,000 pesos. This is very, very exciting. It's going crazy. So the first person to choose will be Bo. Take your time.
I've got Arji Silang.
Woo, Arji! Congratulations. Jenica, your turn.
Is Jenica on mute?
No, sorry, I was saying like my
she's
chat's
ready.
I can't even like read someone's name like in time. I think I saw Giles and Giles.
Woo, go Giles.
Congratulations.
All right, Bo, you're up for number 3.
I've got Red Contreras.
Wow, go Red.
Go Red. Jenica 4.
Can I choose myself?
No. Everyone will hate you on this chat.
Oh my God. Jahara Reyes? Did I read that right?
Woo! Jahara, you know who you are.
Congratulations.
And lucky last, you know what? Bo, do you want to do it or do you want to give it to Acha?
Acha, go ahead.
Okay, Bo. Okay, let me handle it. Okay, this is going to be a really tense. This is the last winner. We have... Oh, I'm having a hard time. But let's see. Okay. The last and final winner is... Okay, Erica Carganilla, congratulations! You won the last prize for the emoji challenge by Gorgeous.
Woo! So we Acha's going to wrap it up, but I have loved your energy, your enthusiasm. Thank you for making the Filipino Shopify community grow. Big shout out to our fantastic speakers, Jenica and Bodog. We look forward to seeing you at the biggest one online, 6th of November.
And again, guys, congratulations to the winners. If you're one of the lucky winners, make sure you message it in the chat box and email hello@filterglobal.com. Again, email hello@filterglobal.com with your full name and send it over to Kes, our digital marketing specialist, and she will be in contact with you to organize delivery. And that is a wrap. Sadly, we value your time for joining us today. Maraming salamat po. You will receive the video recording, special offers in your email by the end of next week with a free, yes, you heard it right, a free e-certificate. And remember to check in your junk mail.
Woo! Bye, everyone.
Bye.